It should be very exciting. It's a very important match with Penguinpuff. And can determine a potential three-way tie, I believe.
Yeah, that is true, and we are off immediately. Our runner is getting right to the action, which is what we'd love to see. In Link's house, we have just a red rupee, and looks like they're both going to be making their way to the Uncle Cave. Yes, they're going to be their first play here.
That's a pretty common play. Seems to be very safe. You can take the sink route or the house route right away, but a lot of people like the extra pull. They like that extra safety.
Yeah, it's good to have that extra pull. Also, if they find a weapon here, they might be inclined to check the escape section or the front escape section while they're here. So I definitely see a lot of value with this play as well. Just a heart container and a bomb capacity upgrade, though. So the escape will not be in the cards just yet anyway, but we could see this in the future.
Bomb upgrade. It's pretty hype. But other than that, not too much. And it looks like they didn't even pull the tree, which is kind of interesting.
Oh, yeah, they didn't. Oh, there's another tree coming up, especially if they're going the route that... It looks like they're both going the same route here, so there'll be plenty of chances to pull that tree. But yeah, I found that kind of surprising, too.
Oh, we have a map check here. I caught 2 crystals, but I'm not sure what desert was. Did you happen to catch it?
Desert was the red pendant, so...
Oh,
we have 2 crystals and a pendant in the light world. That's not too bad. You have 2 of the shorter dungeons to do in the light world, and the other one's very quick that you can just kind of go in and check if you need to. Don't necessarily have to complete it, at least that we know of right now anyway.
Yeah, it's a very healthy mix. Because sometimes if you have all light world pendant or dark world with 3 pendants, it can get a little hairy for decision making. But a nice mix is always good. Looks like only a heart for Penguinpuff in the Lumberjack Cave here. So item still on the table, but not necessarily for the Lumberjack item.
Yeah, exactly. And we also saw the tree pole. The first tree pole is just for blue rupees, but we also saw the bush crab, which is giving out 20 rupees here, which is very nice to get. We'll give them a lot of rupees for Kakariko, which is always nice to have, especially early on if you need those bombs.
Definitely. And a red meringue that it's gonna go a little bit wanting for now.
Yeah, if they don't get that now, I don't really see them getting that in the future. They're probably holding out for the blue boomerang, which a lot of people say is the superior one, but I don't know. I kind of like the range a little better with the red boomerang.
The thing is that there are some strategies that you can only do with the red boomerang, so it's not that bad, honestly. This early in the game, I would have personally picked it up, but to each their own, of course. And lucky for them, they did find blueberries in the Thieves' Hut here, so they can, in fact, go to the rest of Kakariko.
Yeah, that is very nice. It's very nice to get bombs early, especially as an item location, because you can always buy bombs at the shop, but it's always nice to get these 2 locations checked first, just so you don't have to go back through the town to check these locations again.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how much time you can lose by taking certain gambles within the town itself. But got the power glove. It's a very nice find.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's one of the 3 items that they're going to be looking for that Dark World access, so definitely good to get that early.
Yep, it also opens up Back of Escape and Zora. So a couple of options, but it's a little early. They probably won't be too bold just yet to make one of those plays, except for maybe Escape. But
yeah, understandable. Want to kind of go through the rest of Kakariko and just kind of get all those other routine checks in to see what they're going to be working with for at least the early game anyway.
So we got a little bit of love, some money, and a bomb upgrade. All right. It's kind of nice to get that early, especially with the money, because if you wanted, you could go to the witch and buy like 20 bombs right off the start.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. And also, it's good to save up for that Zora purchase as well, just in case. And the chicken hut, we just have another piece of love, so looking pretty good for health so far. I always like trying to get to at least around 6 hearts or so. It can be kind of annoying to work with when going through some of the early dungeons with only 3 or 4 hearts, so it's nice to have a little bit of a balance.
Yeah, they're definitely starting to get a little bit chunky. It'll really help them for quality of life throughout the rest of the run.
Okay. Oh, there's the validation arrow in the in the tavern here.
Still jokingly say that we should make the silver arrow progressive. You get the single arrow, and then you get the silver arrow. But I don't think that really flies with most people.
I kind of like that idea. I always like to say that the validation arrow is the final arrow you use against Ganon in a silver fight. So I kind of like to say that's the final arrow. So you that's why it's called the validation arrow, because you need that to strike the final hit. So that can kind of work with that viewpoint, I think.
Oh, that's pretty cute. I can definitely get on board with that one. Meanwhile, just the validation arrow upgrade in the library and validation blueberries at the race. It looks like Kyong might be going for escape right away here too. It's a very nice quick little check that you can do with the gloves. Really no reason not to go here.
And Penguinpuff actually gambling on the race game. Some people will opt to do this just to, if the item is important, they can actually save a little time and go ahead and collect it. And bombs always nice to have this early anyway, so I wouldn't say that was a bad play, but they're probably not going to be hurt for bombs with that purchase that they made earlier.
No, they'll definitely be really good. Penguinpuff going for the 50-50 bomb drop right there, which is really good. Getting through escape, you only need 5 bombs to get through for each of the rooms, but most players don't really like to make the early escape unless they have boots or a mirror or some other thing. I personally look for the lantern and boots myself, but no real reason to go any which way. And it looks like they've opted for the down.
Yeah, that's the beauty of open mode. There's a lot of different places you can go to. It's quite literally open. That's honestly why I thought I gave it the name. But yeah, a lot of places you can go, a lot of different checks you can make, and most of the time, there's always value to going in different directions anyway. So just by kind of spicing it up a bit and going a different direction, you could run into a an item like the boots or something and speed up a little bit. And just kind of having that extra speed could gets you some ground, at least early on. So there's a lot of value into doing different kind of plays for this early on. Heck, even Kyong right here looks to be going to Agina.
It's a very bold play. He's pretty much only going for Agina, but Agina is known to have quite a few items. I don't remember the statistic, but it's never really a bad thing to go to. A little time consuming, but it can be a little bit of an awkward location too, depending on how the game routes. Penguinpuff doing very well in the Moldering Cave. I kind of view, for me, this is pretty much the hype cave of the game because, you know, very early, you get a bunch of items, like
there you go.
A glove and a quesadilla platter.
Oh my gosh, a lot of good things.
And, the 10 arrow upgrade.
Yeah, I'd say that's very hype, actually. So I think I'm going to agree with you on that. That was a very, very nice cave right there.
Definitely. Still, no, besides the book, no real clear indication of where to go. So I do like that he's going to the Ice Cavern. It's part of Sphere Zero, you know, the beginning of the game. So it's really good to get this one, and it can be a little awkward to write into. Unfortunately, this does mean that Kyong's trip is a little bit inefficient in tandem with not having the book, but you know, you can never completely know these things, so it was certainly not a bad try regardless.
Yeah, for sure. He's going to open that chest, see that book, and he's like, I should have went there after I did all of this. But yeah, like you said, it's you can't really predict anything in Randomizer. It's Randomizer for a reason. So you can't really go in expecting anything. You just got to have to go with your gambles. Sometimes you just got to realize that some gambles will pay off and other ones will not pay off. And that's just the way it is. That's how you kind of recompose yourself after a bad gamble or not so much a bad gamble, just kind of a incorrect gamble, at least for that point anyway.
I have a fever, and the only prescription it's more gambles.
Definitely.
So pretty much the two of them just trading places here.
So since they are kind of trading places, I meant to actually go about this in the intro, but unfortunately they had a really, really quick start. Yeah, at this point, Kyong is 3-0, and with him being 3-0 in this particular group, he actually does not need to win this match. No matter what, he is going to qualify. Unfortunately, taking a death right there. But yeah, he's set to qualify for the next stage of the tournament. The two people below him only have 2 wins, and as a result, and they've already finished all their matches, so they can't actually tie with him or overtake him. Penguinpuff, if he wins his next 2 matches, he will be 3-1, which means he would be tied with Kyong, and then he would be set to qualify with Kyong. If Penguinpuff loses this match and wins the next one, or wins this one and loses the next one, he can be entered in the same tiebreaker with the other 2 people in the group. So Penguinpuff is really going to want to win these next 2 matches just to safely assure himself to get into the top 16 for the tournament.
It's very true. Unfortunately, yesterday, the Cinco got denied between the racers, but here at Saskatchewan's hut, unfortunately, only a lot of money. So we pretty much broke into his, behind-the-wall safe and robbed him.
Yes, he did. I don't know how I feel about that, but it's a randomizer. You got to do what you got to do sometimes, I guess.
Looks like they both have the ideas. It's interesting that Penguin didn't opt to go to desert right away. It makes sense because he does not have a fire source or boots, so it could be a bit of an early red herring. And Eastern, I consider the dungeon pretty much to be overworld, so never a problem to go in here. There's always a lot of potential.
Yeah, especially when you have, as you called him, Saskatchewan's house over there. That's 3 more chests in addition to the 3 or 2 items you'll get from here. So that's like 5 items over in this direction. So definitely not a bad check to come over here at all. And right away, hookshot paying off immediately.
It's really a fun find. You can really play into mobility. Of course, the most immediate use of it would be for Death Mountain, but it'd still technically be a sequence break at this point. But given they have the glove, if they had the Moon Pearl, they could just about do a full sweep of Death Mountain.
Yeah, and with how the logic is kind of playing right now, I mean, it's still too soon to tell because so many items could pop up in just the next few locations. But at this rate, we don't have Dark World access yet. We don't have really any items for Aghanim's Tower either. So it's a pretty high probability that we might find the lamp soon, which would, in turn, put Death Mountain in the logic. So it may be a good idea just to kind of go around and maybe pull out that lamp, or at least find another item that will progress the seed, just based on what they have now.
That's true. Lamp is definitely on the table. Could be flute or something else, but sometimes it's nice to get lamp a little bit early. They'll immediately be useful for desert, and then, of course, the dark rooms. That way, when they go to escape, they can also do the dark room as part of the logic. Assuming they go to escape, that is.
Yeah. And I mean, just by knowing these runners, like, I'm sure that these runners are very comfortable with doing dark rooms. I mean, we're seeing Kyong go through the dark room right now. Penguinpuff going to be doing the same thing. And I'm sure they're very comfortable with the Dark World dark rooms as well. But still, like you said, lamp, just a very good item to have. It honestly does save a lot of time, and just knowing that you don't have to do dark rooms because you don't have to worry about kind of feeling your way around and trying to locate enemies and stuff of that nature. You can just play the room normally and just get rid or take care of whatever you need to do.
It's pretty interesting because, again, yeah, they are sequence breaking. So what they're looking for isn't really going to be here. And as we just found out, the map isn't. The map is past the dark room. So still looking elsewhere. We have a few options. Desert looks really good. There is Zora, but it's a little out of the way. So imagine they're probably, or at least Kyong here is making the play for Desert. Get maybe a little bit of revenge for his early play.
And it looks like Penguinpuff is actually making the play on sequence breaking here. Going to check out some of the Death Mountain items, which at this point, the only sequence breaking is that dark room, which I don't think is really even that bad of a dark room to do. But really, like, I think this could, of all the sequence breaks you could do, this is one that I can kind of get behind just because there are a lot of items up there. And there is such a high probability that that lamp is going to show up in the remaining locations that you have anyway. So,
yeah, I think the main thing is that Kyong is probably following the breadcrumbs here. But Penguinpuff is going to the mountain. The mountain opens up your save point. So that's always good to get. It's not really a time loss. The only way it would be bad is if you had the flute and the boots. But with Penguinpuff's option, he actually has a lot of potential for items. So in the event you find boots or flute or some other thing, it can kind of jumpstart him on his decision. So it's a very interesting divergence.
yeah, for sure. I did notice there was a medallion on the desert ledge, and chat being very, very more noticeable than I am, picking up that it was the Quake medallion. So got another medallion here. Kyung's more than likely going to pick that up before he eventually stave and quits out of here, because I don't see... It is possible, I guess, that he could get the lamp here, but... Actually, I don't think he has any items to even damage Lamnolas anyway.
No, he cannot fight Lammola. And so we now know that boots are required to grab a 10 bomb upgrade. But yeah, Quake, Bacon Strip, or Trap Pinch Face, as I've heard before, on the ledge. So that'll be pretty interesting. They already have 2 medallions, Bombos being very, very good to get early, simply because it also doubles, regardless, as a safety and a way to get through Ice Palace.
Ooh, I saw a flute up there on the Spectacle Rock item location.
It's not a very good location for a wind instrument.
No, definitely not, but that also means that the lamp...
Flippy floppies. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
Oh, don't worry about it, it's fine. But yeah, that also means that the way to get up to Death Mountain is via the Dark Room, so the lamp is somewhere down below. So you can't get up here with the flute.
This is pretty interesting, kind of like how, Zora's mentioned earlier. Now that they have the flippers, that whole area does play into the logic.
Mm-hmm,
so we
definitely
might see them go there a little bit earlier than we otherwise would. Before, it was definitely a gamble for one location. But I'll be curious to see what we find there if we do find something important, because an early play 2 there might have had some value.
Yeah, for sure. Half magic in Paradox Cave. And the hammer! Oh, wow.
It's a very good find. I'm kind of surprised that he opted to save and quit on the mountain, because he actually did open up Hera. He could not go to the basement, but he could have gone to the tower and checked a couple more locations, gotten some information with the book, but seems like he's just happy to get an attack weapon right now, so he's going to opt to do escape, which is also a very good plan.
Mm-hmm. He might also be thinking that because he doesn't have the fire source yet, and now that he knows that they're... Oh, well, hi, Boots.
Oh, what are those?
Yeah, what are those? Yeah, good question. But yeah, as I was saying, yeah, it's because he saw the flute up there on that Spectacle Rock. He's probably thinking, well, there probably is a light source down below. I'm going to try to drag that out before I go to Hera, just in case I have to go to the basement.
So it is very interesting. Kyong very much following the breadcrumbs, it seems. Just kind of going from location to location.
And he's going to be rewarded by getting the clothes off the hobo's back, getting a blue mail for...
Yeah, the blue neck.
The blue neck, yeah.
It's definitely a good one to have. Heart containers are nice, but every time I get a mail upgrade, I'm just like, I'm invincible. It's always a good feeling.
Yeah, because when you think about the vanilla game, you don't get the blue mail until the Ice Palace Dungeon 5, so you actually get it pretty late in the game. It's always nice to kind of see this early. It makes a lot of those early Dark World bosses feel a lot more safe.
Yeah, especially for these crab jerks right here. I'm telling you, they're like the most dangerous enemy in the game.
They are. 2 hearts of damage that early on. That is scary.
Yeah, I think I'd put them right up there with Chomps. Penguinpuff setting up for the death ward.
Let's hope he doesn't refill his hearts. Good thing he didn't. Okay, good.
Yeah, it can definitely be a little awkward to set that death ward, but he did really well. Kyong taking another dip. I'm probably going to go to Zora here. Meanwhile, Penguinpuff is going to do a dark room. Again, it's not too bad of a dark room, but without a sword, it can be a little bit more uncomfortable. His character is pretty healthy though, so I don't imagine, especially players of this caliber, will have any issue.
Yeah, and this is probably the easier route through. Oh, Moon Pearl in the... Okay, wow, water walking could not have been done in this seed. The Moon Pearl was in that chest.
So with that, Kyong actually now does have Dark World access.
He does, yeah, that is correct. He does, with the Moon Pearl, and, well, he actually had Titan's Mitt too, so yeah, he can... Wait, did he get Titan Mitt? I don't remember him going to Death Mountain. Well, either way, he had the Power Glove. No, he doesn't have the hammer either, though.
No, he doesn't have a hammer.
Oh, hammer was on Death Mountain. Okay, my bad. I was mixing up items
okay.
there.
No, but actually, that does bring up a really good point. Penguinpuff has the hammer. Kyong is probably going to dip straight into the Dark World here. So already, because of the route diversions, Penguin will have the hammer, and that might put him on a very different path. Kyong has to go into Kakariko to the one Dark World portal, but Penguinpuff does not. He can choose to go to Kakariko, or it can go south of Link's house. So because of that, he could go up towards the pod area. He could do, wrap around. It probably won't be that big, but you never know. If you find Bo at High Cave or something.
Yeah, for sure. It looks like Penguinpuff is going to Desert first, though, which, pretty good play, considering we know that the flippers are there, and that'll give him the Moon Pearl, which will put him pretty much on the same path that Kyong is in right now. And that was a very quick Dark World transition for the map check, so I did not get to see everything. I saw Turtle Rock and Pod Bean crystals, but that's about it.
Yeah, unfortunately, I wasn't able to check the map myself either, but it shouldn't be an issue. Just if some people, they don't really like to check the map. They like to kind of just play by the dungeons, play by the seed feel, but definitely good info to have regardless. Kyong going into Skullwoods, very quick and very safe play.
Okay, chat reporting that Dungeons 5 and 6 are Skullwoods and Thieves Town, which pretty good. They're both in the immediate area, and they're both very close to each other in quick dungeons, so that's pretty good. Pyramid Fairy could come into play.
Yeah, those dungeons being a crystal tends to make things pretty safe. Skullwoods is really broken up as a dungeon, so going into it early isn't too bad, because chances are you might kind of have to go through the dungeon again anyway. And then with Thieves, you only have one item that's locked by hammer, and being a crystal, it's just a very safe, straightforward dungeon to go through. And you only need a basic weapon in order to hurt blind, so it kind of works out. It can really buff the run early.
Yeah, you tend to see Thieves Town as a first dungeon clear a lot of time in these randomized seeds, just because there are not very many item requirements, and hammer being the only one, really. If you need to get there immediately, you're going to probably have the hammer by that point anyway.
Definitely. A quick little tip. Pushing a statue is actually a little bit faster than pulling a statue. So if you can, try and push it. But of course the Gibdos are pretty rude, so it's not necessarily feasible. But
well, really, it's kind of on them, because they had a boomerang that they could use to stun them, but they decided to leave that in the forest, so...
For shame.
Yep.
No, I mean, I can understand. Like, they have the hook shot, so they can stun with the hook shot, and
Oh, that's
sometimes
true,
you don't
yeah.
really find use for the boomerang, but for how quick of a check it is, you know, one way or the other, it's probably not too inconsequential, but the boomerang can open up some interesting strategies, so personally, I
Yeah,
feel
for sure.
it's a prudent item to pick up. But Penguin going through Desert here, try and do as much of it as he can. There's only the upgrade on the torch, so he can do pretty much all of it. He needs a fire source, but getting his flippers here. And Kyong finishing up Village of Outcasts.
So now Penguinpuff's probably either going to go to Dark World, or he's probably going to check out... Oh, no, he can't go to Dark World, so yeah, he probably is going to check the Azor stuff then.
Yeah, this should work out really well for him. Get his mail upgrade, get his pearl, and that'll be really interesting to see where he goes.
Also going to be taunted by those boots again.
Yeah, definitely. Not having the mirror, you're just, it's going to be on your mind. Yeah, not too much in the village so far, but more health, little things add up. Even little stuff like arrows and the money. It's not necessarily what you're looking for, but if you get too many items too quickly, then all of a sudden you're kind of hurting for some of those things, so... Not always the worst to get.
Yeah.
Yeah, as chat was pointing out, what were those?
Oh, I love chat sometimes.
Yeah, they represent the best of us and the worst of us.
Yeah, you love them when they're joking around with the seed, but then when you're actually running the seed, they want like the worst scenario ever for you, and it's just such a love-hate relationship.
That was a lot of digs just to unlock the Fisher Price shield. I kind of like looking at dig patterns to see if they make anything. That one didn't really stick out to me. Kind of a little bit of a submarine, but not really.
Yeah, I kind of like doing that too. Sometimes I like trying to make little messages to the viewers. Sometimes I say hi. I like make out the words hi or something. So get a little bit of communication in with those dig patterns.
Yeah, it can be a lot of fun. It's kind of interesting that he did leave the shield though. Obviously having the knowledge of the shield is good, because you might get to the point where mirror shield might factor into the logic. But in terms of a shield pickup, I actually do like having the first shield. Oh, there's the mirror.
Ooh. That's very nice to get here too. Yes.
Run, Kyog, run! Go get your boots. No, but yeah, just real quick. The shield can be really handy. It helps more than people might think, especially the first one. Second one can also play a role, and then the third one plays into logic. But
lamp right there.
This southern tour is turning out to be a gold mine.
And depending on Penguinpuff's routing, he's going to be able to get all these items too, because if he does the former Dark World Hype Cave and goes left to Village of Outcasts, he'll pick up the mirror and then pick up the lamp, and then he has the hammer for Thieves Town too. So this could work out for him very well.
Yeah, and we have Penguinpuff checking Swamp Cave here, hoping for something good. Kyong actually doubled back. He didn't really want to carry the smith with him, so even though Swamp Cave was awaiting for him, he figured he'd rather double back, get the smith, maybe pick up the purple chest and check the tablet and get all that done. So very smart idea to double back here to just kind of flesh out the rest of the tour here.
Yeah, he'll probably pick up that when he gets the purple chest, if he decides to do that, which if he goes there, a bottle and a red mail will be waiting for him, so...
Those are a pretty good find. The red mail, besides an interesting palette change, obviously more safety. So now they're definitely very healthy. But the bottle does open up Sick Kid and can be a nice safety. Not the hypest of caves, but still not bad finds.
Yeah, gone are the days where you'd go in that cave and then you have like 2 sword upgrades, the hammer, and a lot of other things. These days, you get something every now and then, but usually nothing substantial. Ooh, Sick Kid having the silver arrows. He was the hero all along.
Yeah, it's the one thing Uncle forgot. He went with the sword, but unfortunately didn't have the arrows. Sick Kid was roaring to go too, but he fell sick. So between the two of them, their powers combined could have taken Ganon, but...
Well, looks like we're gonna have to do all the work now. I did see a pendant at Meyer. So that flute that we saw earlier on Spectacle Rock may not be important, but still it's good to have just for traversal anyway.
Yeah, it kind of feels like they have a lot of the items to go into Meyer, sans having an actual sword, but yeah, it's very true. It could be a herring. I'm getting the hook shot just going through that skull. It's very peculiar, but no, it could turn out to be nothing. You're absolutely right. Yeah, so Kyong entering the cave, of course, and still does not have the hammer. So it'll be really interesting to see where he goes. He does have the pearl and the hook shot, so he can pretty much do all of Death Mountain, and he'll get information on Turok. So it wouldn't be surprising to see him go there, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, getting that mirror followed by the lamp shortly right after that, that's honestly like kind of pointing them, at least in terms of the breadcrumbs anyway, that yeah, Death Mountain might be the way to go. And yeah, that's going to give him his hammer, an item that's universally important for the Dark World just because there's so many blocks that it's behind. And well, first we're going to get the boots, though. Another great pickup for sure.
Absolutely. Another option they have actually is to go into Swamp. Kyong does not have the hammer, so he's not going to be led there just yet. But Penguinpuff has the hammer. So between what we know, Swamp is an option.
That's true. That's very, very true, actually. And usually in a seed like this, when you get access to Swamp early, something always seems to tell me, anyway, that there's something in there. Late game, when you're just like looking for one item, it never seems to have what you're looking for. But early game, I think it's a good play.
The classic is when you need to go into Swamp or Ice, and they're both pendants. It's like, which one do you do?
Yeah.
That one drives me nutty. Then it turns out you had to do both anyway, so...
Yeah, of course. It's version 27, so yeah, of course, that's always the requirement.
Kyong making very good on his boots here. Immediately going to check Bonk Rocks and the rest of this Flangshuari area. Not in the Dark World, so you can't just do the King's Ledge unless he goes to grab it, but... Uh-oh. That Bumper Cave area is the worst.
Yeah, those flying enemies are called murder dactyls for a reason. They hurt. With red mail, shouldn't be as bad, but with only 2 hearts, it's right to be nervous, I think, at that point.
Yeah, it's kind of, you get to the point where you're like, do I want the information or do I want to avoid the area? Yeah, and it does look like Kyong is gonna go for his mountain adventure. So this will be really good for him. He'll get his hammer, and we'll find out what's in the Hera. He has the lantern, so now he can do Hera Basement. No sword, but he can check the tablet.
That's true, yeah. He can at least check the tablet, and intel is very, very important in Randomizer. A lot of people kind of put it off and say, oh, well, I don't have a sword yet, I can't get it anyway. But sometimes just knowing what's there could put you almost not really in a state of go mode, but at least knowing where something is. So if that is your go mode item, you can just think, okay, well, let me find this other item I need, and then I can just go there whenever I actually need it. So it's always good to have intel for Randomizer.
Definitely. Shout out to Sankart and Penguinpuff entering Thieves Town. So yeah, with the hammer, he can full clear it. Crystal Dungeons, this is very good. Still no sword for either player, but it's not too big of a deal. Again, it'll kind of come into play if they do need to go into Mire and a few other areas like Skullwoods and whatnot. But for now, it's not too bad.
Yeah, and with all the different places that our runners are checking, there's lots of places where that sword could be anyway, just coming up in the near future. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see that first sword here very soon, and probably seeing the first sword for 2 different reasons in 2 different locations. Like right there.
Burn him. I'm just kidding.
It's okay.
No, but it's very true, like you're saying. So Penguinpuff with the sword, that'll be very handy. Obviously he can handle Hammer Blind, but the sword is a little bit more wieldy. Like, even for fighting Moldorm or something, if you have a hammer, sometimes you're just not in the best position to hit him, and the sword can be a great little emergency option.
Yeah, for sure. And I just want to point out, like, they're on their second row of hearts working on that, and they both have red mail. They should be pretty good defensively for the rest of the seed, in my opinion.
Yep, they can afford multiple Ganon hugs. So Hookshot Cave for Kyong. Find some blueberries. Very nice, quick little check here. Some rupees. A mushroom.
Ooh, mushroom.
Ooh. And a little bit of love. So, mushroom can potentially turn that in on the way to catfish, but it's kind of one of those odd items where, like, do I really want to go my way and turn it in?
Ooh, another sword on the Death Mountain ledge.
Get back in that cave. So this will be good. So this will be his first sword, but we know that this is effectively Master Sword here.
Actually, that kind of... Oh, wait, no, that's right. He, Penguinpuff save and quit after he got the items in Paradox Cave, so he didn't even see that sword up there.
It worked out really well for him, actually, though, because it was kind of one of those positions where it's like, well, do you check the rest of the mountain, even though he can't finish it? But in this case, kind of like how Kyong came back, he'll probably go back when he has the mirror and the lantern and whatnot. So make it a lot more fruitful for when he does go back.
That is true. That's a good point.
Found a fairy, a waifu in a bottle in the main chest. So that is more safety for them here.
Anyway, Helier, to answer your question, no, you cannot jump from the mountain in the light world, only the dark world.
That is correct. So, Kyong went in into here and got the key, so it turns out it actually was basement locked.
Okay, well that was a good call that, yeah.
Yeah, that he left early. You can never tell in Rando, but it turns out in this case that it was the perfect play for him to make. So
Right.
very, very good on him there. As he does a very solid fight. Took the boss's heart. Blind, not the nicest guy. He's got that cringe 4 sizes too small action going on right there. But
yeah.
Crystal, he's one step closer to Pyramid Fairy.
Plus, impersonating one of the maidens is like one of the most unspeakable crimes you could ever do anyway, so yeah, he needed to go down.
Yeah, Sue's making his southern tour here. I'll get to see what fun shovel pattern he does, but we all know that the main reward here is the hammer. Or not the hammer. I'm sorry, I was watching Kyong. The mirror and the lantern.
It looks like not really going for much of a pattern, just kind of the standard block shape.
I really like this though. It's very aesthetically appeasing. It just had to be one more.
That was almost symmetrical, yeah.
Go back, fix it.
Yeah.
Shovel the rest of them. No, but that's good. It looks like he opted to not grab it either.
I think my kind of rule for shields is if there's a shield like on a ledge or something that take a little extra work to get, probably won't grab it. But yeah, if it's just like standing right there, may as well grab it just to get a little extra assurance.
Yeah, pretty much. My thought is, if you can't afford the 26 extra frames, you probably should have played better earlier.
Yeah, definitely.
Gotta have some fun. Okay, I wasn't talking about the current players. That's not what I meant. I meant in general philosophy.
Yeah, we both know that like the runners right now, especially to get to this point in the tournament, they're very good. They're confident in not picking up a shield. Then more power to them. But
And much love and respect to both the runners. And did you happen to catch did you happen to catch what was on the tablet?
No, I did not actually.
I only caught part of it too, so bummer. But I think it might have been the fire rod. I'm not sure. Or
Ooh.
Triple boom. Might have been triple.
Oh, triple boom. Yeah, that's just bombs, unfortunately. Oh wow, they're both grabbing the same item right here.
Yeah, so mirror, lantern, triple boom. Not mirror, lantern, very logical play to go up to the mountain. And then of course, if you know the flute's there, then get your flute. And now we do have Mire access, and we do have a sword to open it. So I'll be curious to see if they happen to go there. We still have the pyramid, we still have catfish, we still have pod, of course. Eastern has been cleared out, but a lot of options on the table.
Yeah, for sure. For me personally, I'd almost think Swamp, but yeah, like honestly, Palace of Darkness would be a good play too, especially with the recent kind of modification to the logic for this version of the randomizer, where the bow has a slightly better chance to be in Palace of Darkness now. So couldn't possibly hurt to check that place out too, and it seems to always have a lot of items as well.
Yeah, it's kind of... Before it was really easy to leave, because it was usually a little bit inconsequential. It was really good for knowledge, but in terms of actual progression, it was kind of a little bit weird. Chat's pointing out that we do have ice that we can go to too, which is very true.
Right.
That's a pendant. No one wants to go to pendant ice.
Yeah, I wouldn't, especially with just the fighter sword too. I mean, Penguinpuff might have the master sword here in a little bit if he checks the right side of Death Mountain, which I imagine he will. But still, like, even Cold Stare can be pretty rough when you don't have Tempered Sword or the Fire Rod.
Yeah, it's a little bit up in the air. Mire being the green pendant. Kind of about the same length to full clear. But somewhat safer with the exception of Vitreous. Between the two of them, they could have the Master Sword, but both locations not looking that wonderful.
Now we have some runners in chat right now saying Cold Stare with Hammer is easy mode. All I have to say to that is if that's your easy mode, I'd really, really hate to see your hard mode.
I mean, to be fair, they do have a lot of hearts, and they do have red mail, and they have a bottle, so in this context, yeah, I could agree with that, but if they're a little bit weaker, Cold Stare is not for the faint of heart.
Yeah, that's true. They do have a lot of hearts, so, and red mail, so yeah, that shouldn't be too bad.
But I do agree. He is one of the harder bosses and more catastrophic to fail. And the two of them pretty much trading places here. Penguinpuff going to get his Hera Crystal. Kyong going through these down.
Yeah, the both just trading off what they were just doing. Seems to be a lot of back and forth in this particular race.
We almost got the burrito sinkage.
Oh, wow. Okay, Kyong has his Master Sword. Penguinpuff should be getting his very soon as well, once he sees it up on the ledge when he goes to the east side.
Yeah, I think in terms of sword, Master Sword is probably the most important sword to have in Zelda. The upgrade to Temper is really good, but between the fighter and the master, there's also a really big leap. It can make Moth a lot more comfortable. You can do a lot of low percent strategy strats on the bosses. So Master Sword definitely a very good weapon to have. Even having the Sword Beam opens up a lot of time saving tricks.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think we'll see it coming into play because there's such an easy pattern to use with blind, so you can just have this fight go the same way every single time. But I always like having the sword beams for the blind fight just in case if I kind of lose track of the fight and I still have my hearts, I can kind of use the sword beams to kind of take them from a distance and not really worry about getting hit as much.
Yeah, definitely.
And to even add on to what you were saying, yeah, there's some bosses that can't even be hurt with the fighter sword unless you do a spin. And Master Sword, you can pretty much attack all of the regular bosses just with the straight up slash. So definitely a huge gap in power between the two for sure.
Yeah, and shout out to the potion shop dude on the mountain. His real estate isn't the best, but his prices are fair.
Yep, agreed.
Seems Blind went with the Scarlet today. Missed that a little bit earlier. Oh, I mean, it'd be different for the sprite. Excuse me.
Yeah, they're different based on the sprite.
I was like, why didn't I notice it before? Oops.
I want to say, like, I did it with the soda can once, and then, like, Blind's face was completely, like, gray, and, like, it was a really, really weird color. So it could be fun looking at different sprites just to see how all the other characters kind of react to it.
Yeah, it's part of the charm of Rando. Right now, both players doing very well in general with their routing, their options, and their execution. It's a very solid match right now.
It really is, and yeah, there's not really a lot separating them in terms of what they have. Any items they're missing, I'm sure the other runner will pick up the other item very shortly anyway. So yeah, they have a lot of the same items. Not really any runner has a distinct advantage right now.
I definitely agree. It's very even at the moment. For as different as it was from the very start, they're pretty much doing everything very efficiently. So again, they're not really falling behind one way or the other.
Chat does bring out, there is a good point. Penguinpuff does not have the boots yet, so he is losing a little bit of overworld time without having those, but I imagine he'll be picking up those soon too. You don't want to go too long without those.
Yeah, that's very true. Penguinpuff's pretty much cleared a good portion of the world here, so wouldn't be surprised if we saw that right now or very soon.
I'm actually curious. Oh, he's probably going to activate his flute right now.
It is pretty interesting, though, that he hasn't gone for the boots. Because normally, you know, you like to route things in a certain way, but... And shoutouts to Hyrule's national anthem. And the goose is loose. And just 50 just 50 rupees in Checkerboard Cave. Nothing too much just yet. Still have the mushroom, but Kyong opting to go south. He might be going to swamp here.
Yeah, that's what I think he might be doing as well. At this point, a lot of the items tend to be pointing at Swamp right now, just in the order he's kind of gotten them. So, really would not be a bad play here. And I think that Penguinpuff is going to probably pick up the boots now, I imagine.
Yeah, it looked like he activated the flute and then went to go get the boots. So immediately has a lot more mobility, and this is really good because now he won't be losing time to Kyong based on little movement stuff alone. The boots also open up different strategies and tech, so very important piece of equipment to have. Now that he has set of boots, I wonder if he's going to join Kyong and go straight into Swamp.
That looks like that's going to be the play right here, so yeah. Also, another difference I noticed between the runners is that Penguinpuff has not picked up the Quake Medallion yet, which is the medallion for Turtle Rock, so that is another distinct advantage that Kyong has at the moment.
Yeah, with the way their early game took them, it was kind of interesting how it led them. But yeah, he didn't opt to go get Quake, but he might not be too worried about it for now. Maybe saving it for a little bit later. And they do have the mirror, they have the flute, so if they end up going to the Mire area, they can go and pick that up.
Yeah, that's true. It is on the desert ledge after all, so yeah, they can...
Yeah, it's not too out of the way. It's the kind of thing where you think that you should just may as well go pick it up right away, but you can never know. I was watching Race with Andy, and oh, that's a little bit different. He got caped a little bit later, but sometimes just the knowledge is all you really care about for the moment.
Yeah, and since he has the knowledge that Turtle Rock is going to be the Quake Medallion, that's got to be on his mind anyway, that, okay, at some point I'll have to go back to Desert to pick it up, so I'm sure he'll remember it.
Yeah, it's still very early. Still a lot of options. And Kyong getting his matching sword. The carrot beat stick.
Yeah, and at this point, I like to declare that when you have the Tempered Sword and you have Silvers, you're pretty much good to go when it comes to the final boss. Most of our runners, especially in the main tournament, can definitely do Silverless, but they have the Silvers too. So at this point, like the final boss, Ganon, not a concern at all. At this point, they're really just going to be looking for the rest of the items they need to complete the seed, and then they're just going to be going right through into go mode.
I do declare, Ganon's gonna have a rough time. Yeah, so Kyong doing the full left side clear here. A little bit of a different school of thought when it comes to, do you go straight for the boss and then re-enter, or do you just go for the left side and hope for the key and then just go right through? If you have the boots, it makes it a little bit better to go for the left side, because if you do get the key later, even though the stairwell has a glitch where if you walk up it, you might be forced to go back down. If you have the boots, you can actually circumvent that, so you won't have that little bit of time loss.
Huh, I never knew that, actually.
Yeah, what you have to do is you have to dash into the stairwell and then hold left, I believe.
Okay, I'll have to try that next time I'm doing this run. And yeah, it looks like Penguinpuff going straight to the end here, so both kind of taking different routes through Swamp Palace, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, we can see it coming into action right here. Penguinpuff's route, yeah, it's the stairwell that he has right here, and there is Ether and the big key.
I tend to go for the play to going straight to the boss if I'm like only like one item away from go mode or something, because then if you find it in later sections of the swamp, you don't have to backtrack and go to left side. But when you're kind of looking for everything still, or not everything, but a lot of items, I think the full clear, there's some merit to it. And like you said, the boots does make it a lot more bearable as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think Penguinpuff's route is, I don't know if I'd say it's the more common one, but there are definitely direct advantages to it depending on the seed. Kind of went a little bit unnoticed, but Kyong, in that Baronade room, if you slash your sword twice, or you do a dash, and then stop your dash and then dash again, it will time it perfectly for the electrified jelly right there. So you will be able to get through it with a dash.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've
Times it
definitely
perfectly.
seen that happen.
It's a very good frame kill strategy.
Okay, so Penguinpuff is the first to slay Argus, but I have a feeling that Kyong is probably going to be the first to fully clear this dungeon anyway. So it is still pretty close. Like I wouldn't say that Kyong has a definitive lead or anything, but again, kind of having the boots earlier and does have the Quake medallion already, so that is a lot less time that he'll have to spend getting through the rest of the seed, but it's still very, very close. Anything could happen here, just with this next gamble on what dungeon they decide to go into next.
Yeah, he entered the dungeon first, so of course he got the full clear, Penguin having to re-enter. But what's really worth noting is that Kyong has the Bombas medallion. So for him, Ice Palace is on the table too. So coming out of the dungeon, we could potentially see him go on over to it. Penguinpuff does not have that option.
Mm-hmm. Oh, actually, chat pointing out that map and compass are on the left side, though, so technically what Penguinpuff's doing, he doesn't have to, if that is the case.
Yeah, it can be a little, when you play these games, and especially because the seeds change so much, it can be a little hard to keep count of your items sometimes.
Yeah,
or you might get in a bit of autopilot mode.
Yeah, it's a common mistake. It happens from time to time. So
he won't really lose any time to Kyong, but he's not gaining any time either, which is the notable thing.
He also has the blue pegs down, which means the orange pegs are going to be up over here. So probably after he gets the first item and he sees that he cannot get the other one, he's probably going to be like, oh wait, do I have the items? And then we'll probably see a mirror out then.
Yeah, so it turns out that Kyong is in fact going to go into Ice Palace.
Oh, no, okay, he's not mirroring out. He is going back.
So this could put Penguinpuff into a bit of a spot if there is something in Ice Palace, because he doesn't have Bombos yet. Or, oh no, he does. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he has Bombos, but
Oh! My bad. I don't know why I got tripped up with that.
it's okay. It's okay.
Please forgive me.
Yeah, Quake is the one that he doesn't have. So
Yeah, it's... He didn't count items or whatever. I didn't count medallions. And there is the cane.
Yep. Okay, so like right there, yeah, this is turning into be a very good play. It's kind of interesting though that they don't have the fire or ice rod yet. So normally this is the point where once I have the cane and all the items that I can to access Turtle Rock, I'm almost thinking of making the Turtle Rock gamble. But and I mean there could be stuff in Turtle Rock. There are a few chests that can be opened, but Turtle Rock gamble could come into play.
That's very true. The fire rod itself could be in Turtle Rock. And if you happen to be in the area, it's a little out of the way for them to route to, but in the event that you're in the area, you could check it to see if it's fire rod locked. So, especially if you plan to go to it anyway, you can open it up and then take a quick peek inside. Kyong now, or not Kyong, Penguinpuff now going to check the tablet.
Just an arrow capacity upgrade.
Yeah, unfortunately not as good as a bomb upgrade, but you know, sometimes it doesn't hurt. Having extra arrows is never a bad problem.
Okay, Penguinpuff is in the mire area, so he is probably going to pick up the Quake Medallion in just a moment. And, you know, he is in the mire area. Even though it is a pendant and he can't complete it because he doesn't have the cane, we know where the cane is.
Yeah.
Do they check mire? That's the question.
Yeah, if he happens to go into mire, it'll be a forced double dip if he wants to full clear it. It's good that he has Quake now here, but going into mire is probably not the best thing to do at this moment. It's hard to say. Like, you could still find the bow, you could still find something else in there. But in the event of a full clear, not having the cane isn't as fun.
Yeah, for sure. Kind of the logic that I would use in that scenario is that because it is a pendant, you may not have to necessarily worry about clearing it. And for the most part, you can get... There's a good probability you're going to get all of the items in mire before you need the cane anyway, because there's only one item locked behind the cane. So using that, you can go in, check the items you can get, and then leave it behind without finishing it, and then there's a chance you may not have to finish it either. The problem is it is a green pendant, so there could be an item beyond that as well, so it's a risky decision, but it looks like you ended up going up the ice anyway.
Very good bomb jump from Kyong. Still going through ice here. But yeah, it's and then of course Penguinpuff joining him, which will be good for him. He'll get his cane. Yeah, because while dipping into mire can pay off as a gamble, if you do have to go back to it, it's double dip. It's not the worst dungeon because you're still looking for the big key, unlike some other dungeons, and it's not as front-loaded in time like swamp or ice. But if you do have to double dip, between having so many options in the world, it makes it very unappealing to go back. It is a green pendant, so it wouldn't be that bad. But if it was another seed, it could be very, very not good.
Yeah, I could definitely see and agree with that for sure. Ooh, okay, Penguinpuff actually leaving.
Yeah, I wonder if he feels like he's behind, so he got the cane, and he might feel he got all the worth. So as a gamble, this could be really good for him. Don't think we got anything else in ice.
So yeah, that could be a very good move for sure. Yeah, I like that. I like that thinking.
Cold stare, not that fun, but Kyong doing a good job. Only for a heart piece, though.
Okay, this could be really good for Penguinpuff. That may have been a very, very good decision. Could still be something at the pedestal. I don't think that's been checked yet. So, you know, there's always that possibility to come back and bite Penguinpuff in the butt. But as for now, this does technically put him at a bit of a lead. Not much, because Kyong is just leaving Ice Palace, but definitely caught up from where he was behind a little bit ago.
Yeah, definitely. That made up a lot of time for him. I feel like trying to bank on, like, when you play these games, sometimes you don't always want to rely on the pedestal. It can be there, but in terms of time in a tournament setting, that might be one of those things where you're like, no, I'm going to gamble on the fact that it's not a pest seed, and I'm not going to bother going through everything. Penguin got his item of worth, and now going to Mire. So it'd be curious to see how the dungeon is physically laid out in terms of items, but there's a very, very good chance that there's something here. To answer chat, no, we don't know if we have a pedestal seed right now.
Yeah, we do not. We have the capability of checking, and it'll just take a small little flute to 3 to go up and check. But I imagine they're going to try to wait to bring out the Fire Rod, go to Skull Woods, and then maybe check there if it's even necessary by that point.
Assuming the pedestal does not have a Fire Rod. But yeah, in terms of smart routing, it's a very good point.
And it is definitely kind of a gamble, kind of not trying to put it out of your mind as well, because all of the dungeons that are pendant dungeons are completable at this point. So that usually does signify that there could be something there. And that's definitely a point you probably want to figure that out as soon as possible, at least the way I see it anyway. But again, these runners, they still have a few locations to check. I imagine they probably want to try to see if they can pull it out before even resorting to that.
Yeah, in the event that is, in fact, a pedestal seed, Kyong has a larger lead, which would be unfortunate for Penguinpuff. It's not likely, but when it is, it always burns you. Or it feels like the worst.
Yeah, for sure.
It's the kind of situation where, as fun as pedestal seeds can be, as viewers and for chat, I don't think we would really want it to be in this case. It's a very important match for Penguinpuff. Well, for both, of course, but this can factor into the tiebreaker.
Yeah, definitely. And like Penguinpuff knows at this point that Kyong is 3-0. That's probably why he even took that gamble in the first place. He's like, okay, I got an item from here. That may be the only item I need. I'm up against a good player. This might be the time to take a gamble. And at least so far, we know it's a good one.
Yeah, these players are all very strong. So in respect to the player, you want to play to the player. So in Penguinpuff's mind, especially left side swamp not really going so well for him, he may figure that this is the edge that he needs.
Definitely. Like, I couldn't agree more.
So we're just about done Mire here, and nothing too crazy just yet. Got the big key.
Ooh, Butter Sword.
It's not progression, but never hurts to get.
Whatever makes enemies and bosses easier to kill along the way is always good to have.
Yeah, and I don't think Butter Vitreous is that common of a fight to see either.
Oh yeah, definitely not. And they won't have either of the invincible items to use either. So yeah, they're gonna have to get right in Vitreous's face, which shouldn't be a problem with this much health. But yeah, they're gonna have to get up and close to do damage.
Yeah, no bow, but like you're saying, they well, to get a little bit close and personal, but no better sword to have than a butter sword.
Mm-hmm.
It's better than the first sword, the Philadelphia cream cheese sword.
Okay, I've never heard that one before. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, you got the cream cheese, and then you go to the freezy, and then you go to a carrot. So it slowly gets a little, a little better. But
Okay. I can dig that.
and an analogy kind of loses that butter, but it's okay. Ooh. Looks like Penguin is going, obviously, for the typical Vitreous strat. If you can, you want to step into the puddle. It only does 1 heart damage and gives you enough invincibility frames to charge a spin and hit to everything else. The eyes hurt, but in this case, he's cleaned up everything very well. Yeah, you kind of see Kyong going for it too. I think he got clipped by the eye, but even still, good fight from Penguin. Both having to use a potion, so kind of even up a little bit there.
I'm actually a little surprised he used that potion at the very end there, because all the eyes were gone by that point. But I just probably wanted to be safe. It's no fun going back in here just to clear up the boss.
Yeah, video hugs are not very fun. So better safe than sorry, I'm sure. Also, when you defeat a boss, your magic and hearts have to refill. So if you use that safety, you're actually saving time after.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's a good point.
So Penguinpuff going to pod. They're looking for the bow. Did they check the pyramid?
I don't think so. I don't think they ever have. I don't think either of them have.
Well, it's pretty interesting. I've seen the bow on the pyramid a few times, and it's either a pod welcome party or a pod troll party, depending on how you route into pod.
Yeah, for sure.
Penguin trading in his pendant. Unfortunately, not what we're looking for.
Nope.
Very good frame saving strat by him though, going into pod. Kiki is a very slow walker, so if you kind of do that little shimmy at the end, you can actually like suck him closer to the door, and then he doesn't walk as far. Kyong checking the pyramid, finding our green rupee.
And did Kyong ever check the front side of escape?
Apparently not.
Okay, well, guess we're gonna see this again.
Yeah, unfortunately, Szechuan not paying out. But if it is a pest seat, then they are 1/3 closer.
Okay, it looks like Penguinpuff is opting to check the pedestal here.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's the kind of thing that you wish he knew earlier, because again, while he was in ice, it kind of tell him. But, so if it is a pedestal, he's going to know that it really hurt. But get hype, guys. We're about to check. Just couch cash. So that is huge for Penguin.
That is very huge.
I know there. Some people are going to be happy. Some are going to be upset. but for the sake of the runner, I think it's really good. That was not a Pessel Seed.
Yeah, right now Penguinpuff is not in a position where he wants to go back into ice, because that will take up a lot of time that he is actually ahead of Kyong right now. And yeah, at this point, definitely want to start looking for the location of those last 3 items, because right now we need the bow, we need the fire rod, and we need the ice rod to finish up this seed.
That's correct. And it's one of those things that people might not really think about, but the gamble that he made, so obviously having made that gamble, it made it a good gamble. So in terms of watching the play, it's a very rewarding feel. As the player making that play, and especially if you fell behind, it's a huge morale boost. So it can really factor into your further gameplay, where maybe you're playing better, or you're kind of a little bit calmer with things. You're like, okay, that was really good, Obviously, he doesn't know what is left in Ice Palace, but at least he knows that gambling the pendant was a good idea.
Yeah, for sure.
So Penguinpuff cashing in with Papa Smithy here.
Looks like Catfish is going to continue to be ignored for a little bit longer.
That dude is the worst. Every time I ignore him, I get trolled. I found Kane on him twice and a bunch of other things, and just like, But yeah, he's kind of an awkward spot. But Kyong might be checking the ledge here and maybe go over.
Yeah,
this is also a very good option.
Yeah, for sure. And I can't tell how many times I've had the Titan's Mitt at Catfish. Like, I was keeping track on my hands, but then I ran out of fingers, because just for some reason he loves that Titan's Mitt. He always seems to have that in a lot of the weeklies I've done and just all of my normal runs.
And chat is asking about a glitch, but I think I might have missed what was happening on the screen in tandem to what they're wondering. If it's the King's Tomb glitch, where you enter King's Tomb, you can hold out your sword, and while you're sideways holding up against the grave, tap dash, and the grave will automatically open. And then you have to release your sword in order to walk in.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So we have some Quakefish hype over here. He goes for the bong. Only 20 rupees. So Catfish not required except when it is. And in this case, not required.
And at this point, I think it's looking like, honestly, Turtle Rock might be the gamble, because I think they were bow locked out of pod. I think that's why Penguinpuff left.
Yeah, and I think chat was talking about the hammer pegs. If you hammer the pegs and then warp, it stores the amount of pegs you hit. So then when you go back to the Dark World, you can hit a certain number. It seems kind of funny because you have to hit all the pegs. You think you'd have to hit all the pegs, but really it's just the number of the pegs that you're hitting.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Also, my apologies. There can sometimes be a lot going on at once.
Yeah, for sure.
I thought he'd check King's Tomb, but I'm like, well, you know what? I'll just say this in case. So Kyong finding out Sassafras is nothing for him. Does the same frame save strategy. So it's really good. Meanwhile, Penguinpuff now going to check Quakefish. So now the hope is that bow or fire rod, or of course ice rod, are in pod. But turns out we're bow locked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So their options are starting to narrow down pretty quickly. Kyong might be heading back into desert here. They couldn't do Lamola, and I believe Lamola was holding an item.
I don't think so, because wasn't there like a bomb upgrade on the torch or something with the flippers and the other chest?
There was a bomb upgrade, but between that, there's still the 2 keys and the 2 items, so we need the bomb upgrade, but Kyong is indeed heading into desert here. Looks like yeah, because looking at the map here, they don't have the fire rod for Skowoods. They don't have the bow for Paw, they don't have the bow for Eastern. So it really kind of leaves desert and Turtle Rock. And of course going all the way up to the mountain into Turtle Rock, only to have an item at Lamola isn't necessarily that fun. They have the butter, can kill Lamola really quickly. That, and of course, Kyong never checked the pedestal, so to him, this might still be a
that's
pedestal.
right.
So he's got a few reasons why he's coming here.
Yeah, because he has the ice pendant already, so yeah, he's probably just going to go straight for the pedestal after this.
So this will really come down to what Penguinpuff does, because Kyong had a bit of a lead, but it's quickly, okay, yeah, so there was no item. It's quickly evaporated.
And then yeah, Penguinpuff checking the purple chest, Kyong gonna go for the pedestal. After that, they're gonna be probably about even again. I can't think of any other loose ends that the other one hasn't already gotten.
Nope, and it looks like he is going to the mountain.
So yeah, I'd say it's about the same lead that Penguin had at the end of or at the start of Misery Mire. I'd say it's pretty equivalent to that. So they kind of just spent time taking care of the other stuff that the other runner did during this place since the Misery Mire clear.
Yeah, and everyone get hype for your blend pull. It's really the thought that counts. Okay. You got the money of legend.
I think he was hoping... Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think he was hoping for a different red item, but it looks like it's just going to be the red rupee.
This is very true.
Okay, so yeah, Kyong gonna do Spike Cave, and Penguinpuff, I think, is going straight to Turtle Rock, which is what I like to see. I like seeing Turtle Rock gambles. Or, it's not really a gamble anymore, but I like seeing progression in Turtle Rock.
It's very true. They're starting to kind of run out of options. Yeah, he's going to Spike Cave. You know, 20 rupees, that, I don't exactly know the exchange rate, but it's probably better than the cash my coach has. Not the worst, but it's not a fire rod or a bow or an ice rod. And yeah, he's heading straight over here.
Now, when you consider the fact that a red rupee is only 30 rupees less than what it takes to buy explosives in a traditional item shop, yeah, that must be a very, very worthwhile currency.
Turok is a fun dungeon to watch. Obviously, we can get really hype over what's in Turok, but in terms of executing it and just watching the players go through it, it's one of the dungeons I really like watching. A lot of cool little things you can do.
Yeah, especially in a scenario like this where they don't have the fire rod, so they're not going to be able to get the item or the 2 chests that are in the right of this room. So this either has to be the item they're looking for or a key, and it's a key, so they can continue a little bit, but at some point they are going to get blocked off potentially by the necessity of that fire rod.
Yeah, it also changes the way you route the dungeon too, especially if you get the items needed to complete it in the dungeon. Having the mirror is handy.
There it
there
is.
we go. Opting to mirror back immediately, which is... Oh, and leave.
Ooh, leaving.
Oh, nope.
Oh.
Going back in.
Oh, getting the magic. Oh, the magic has still been there. I don't know. Maybe just slip of the finger or something.
Yeah, he might have thought about it, and he was like, "Well, wait a minute. You know, maybe it's a little bit of a climb to go back in, so maybe he figured it's best to just go through right now." Of course, still need the ice rods, so they can't finish. So you're kind of stuck between, you know, a rock and a hard place here.
Yeah, at this point, because the rest of the items except the try next item are available, I think it just makes more sense to stay in the dungeon than maybe draw out the bow or maybe even the ice rod if it is here, just so you can finish it. Because, yeah, you don't want to leave too early. It's good that they got the fire rod, but there's still some items left in here.
Yeah, because what you're gambling on is that Skull will either have your item or Pyramid Fairy will open up to the item. But if it doesn't, then it, you know, like you're just setting up a lot of awkward potential for the future.
Mm-hmm.
So as unfortunate as it is, it's kind of like, you know, it's good to go through.
Agreed.
And also, it makes the re-return a little bit shorter, but it's kind of, you know, it's to risk reward.
Yeah, for all the work you kind of have to do to get through Turtle Rock, once you have everything done, it's actually a really, really short dungeon just to go through it from the very beginning to end with all the puzzles solved.
Yeah, it's a smart play, but is it the right play?
Mm-hmm,
And they do have Mimic Cave too.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's another location as well.
Yeah, the Pokey can be a jerk. Just light him up a little bit.
Yeah, especially with that half magic.
Absolutely. So yeah, the seed is starting to wind down quite a bit. So a lot of what it's coming down to is going to be execution. Between the plays of both players and the gamble from Penguinpuff, it's really coming down to the wire.
It really, really is. That Ice Palace early exit was just huge. It's made up a lot of distance, and if he would have stayed in Ice Palace, I think it'd be a much greater distance than it is right now, leaning in the other direction. So that was a really, really good play.
Yeah, there's still a lot of potential in the race to go back and forth, but it's certainly closed the gap. They're very close together now, which is always fun to see.
Mm-hmm, definitely.
Just some rupees from Mimic. So we're still hoping for an ice rod for not to have a double dip.
Mm-hmm.
And by say we, I mean some.
Yeah.
But what the players are hoping for.
Another V-Tort bottle.
You can use it to unleash your wrath on the hard hat beetle on the laser bridge if you want to.
Okay, so I'm going to call it now. The bow's going to be on Laser Bridge, and then Ice Rod's either going to be in Pod, or it's going to be at the Pyramid Fairy.
It certainly could be the case. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Shovel or something kind of trolly. Not that I want it, but like, I was seeing Shovel and some weird stuff in the Turok, so it'd be pretty fun. Bow on Laser Bridge would be very handy for them though. First item, some rupees. And there's our key.
Bombs. And a map.
Not so much a bow or an ice rod, unfortunately.
So does this mean the fire rod, which they got from this dungeon, is gonna lead them to get the other 5-6 crystal, and then maybe bow and ice rod are in there? What if both of them are in there?
Yeah, it's really funny. Had they left right away, kind of what Penguinpuff seemed to be hesitating about, had he left, it would have been a good play.
It really would have.
You can never know, so you cannot fault the runners. It's kind of like, it's a stressful situation no matter how you look at it.
Yeah, this is the point where sometimes you see a lot of people in chat say like, oh, he made the wrong decision. And like, it is the wrong decision, but you can't really say it was a bad decision, because when you're in a position like that, yeah, you want to check the rest of Turtle Rock to prevent any other types of dipping situations. So, like, I think it was a good call to continue on. It's just unfortunate it was the wrong call in this case.
Yeah, I think it was during one of the qualifiers. Flippers were in Turtle Rock, and there was like a bow and another item in Turtle Rock, and some of the runners left early, which in that case didn't work out. In this case, it would have. And that's just kind of how Rondo goes.
Exactly. That's like, you never know what's going to happen until you actually see it happen. You can only really call what the right decision was after the fact, when you actually know where everything is.
So just a compass, and now we're off to Mothula.
Mothula is not going to last very long with that buttered sword, that's for sure.
Nope. And that mummy hallway didn't last very long either. It's very good by Penguinpuff. So going into the moth fight here. Fight's a bit of a pain. In the original game, Butter wasn't actually programmed to do damage to Moth, if I'm not mistaken. So they had to fix it to do tempered sword damage. And already down he goes. And there's our ice rod.
Ice rod. Oh boy.
A nice rod. So now you can go back to Turok to get your bow and try next, maybe.
Oh yeah, that's another good point. Yeah, like, do you just go straight back to Turtle Rock and think maybe Trinex has it, or do you go to the Pyramid Fairy first to check those contents?
I think I would go to Trinex, because you have to get the bow to go to pods. It's not like you can route in Death Mountain with the Ganon Tower there. If you don't find it there, then obviously do something different. But I think I would do Turok first.
Yeah, like, there's definitely like multiple schools of thought there, because one thing, I think the chat's kind of bringing this up, is that I would slightly value the Pyramid Fairy play here, just because there's 2 items as opposed to 1. And then you also have the fact that if you save Turtle Rock to last, which might be the case, then you just have that walk over to Ganon's Tower anyway.
Sorry, in my mind I was like, yeah, he's got the bow. Oh man, I'm dropping the bomb here. I'm sorry.
It's cool. No problem. These things happen, even when you're just run so many seeds of randomizer. Sometimes you just kind of like misremember something or forget one small detail.
Yeah, watch a bunch of runs, play a bunch of games, and all the different routing can get a little topsy-turvy.
And both these runners are so close to each other right now, too, so... There it
Nice,
is.
though.
Okay.
It's very good.
So, we're going to see a return to Eastern and Pod. Ooh! Oh, man, bonking right there. That's actually going to put, well... Okay, it looks like Kyung's going to go to... Oh, they're both going to go. Okay, they're both going to go the overworld route, which makes sense because they're already in the Dark World. They can just mirror over to the Eastern Palace when they're done. But Kyong back in the lead, technically, even if it is just by one screen transition.
Yeah, he definitely made up a lot of time and has pulled ahead a little bit.
So now it will really come down to execution here. And the great thing about getting the big key when they did in that first chest is they can pretty much go mode this place very easily. Because chances are they're going to get a key from this side of Palace of Darkness. So they can just hop right down and then go to the boss room. So this is going to be very, very quick.
And it's really cute that the dungeon worked out this way. So yeah, it's all execution from here. I'm definitely an advocate for execution. It's one thing that you can directly control within a seed. Can be difficult and take time to get good at it, but it's something that you always want to work on.
Penguinpuff, why are you checking chat? Okay, good. I think he just realized right there. Oh wait, I don't need that.
Yeah, and Kyong went to go pick up an extra heart. I think you might have been thinking about the NMG strat where you can shoot the sword beam and then dash through. And it also really helps you for the switch here too, in terms of speed. A fairy drop, so it wouldn't have mattered in this case, but very good that he picked it up.
And yes, chat is correct. There is still the matter of Ganon's Tower, and depending on what kind of gambles they could take there, that's really, like, I think the main potential differentiation right now. Aside from that, like, Eastern is going to be a straight walk to the end. Turtle Rock, the revisit's going to be a straight walk to the end. So it's going to be... Until Ganon's Tower, it's going to be execution, and once they find the big key, it'll be execution. So definitely, mostly execution.
Yeah, there's obviously still a lot left, but movement is huge here. They have the butter, they have the silver. So in general, like you're saying, execution is really big, and movement is really big here too, which of course is a part of execution. So Helmasaur going down very quickly. So I'm sure we can expect to see a mirror out from here, going to Eastern, and then routing in the Torok into Gan Tower.
Okay, Penguinpuff picks up his 5th crystal.
Yep, only 2 more. Eastern's a fun dungeon to go through when you have boots and everything. especially if you played the game normally a lot. It's like, whoa, I have boots, I can go quickly.
Yeah, that's right. Because yeah, you don't normally have the boots for vanilla because you get them after you beat Eastern. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a kind of funny. The very first dungeon you go to is one of the last you. It's like you got this red mail, you got your silver arrows, you got the butter sword, you got everything. It's kind of like, whoa, buddy.
Yeah, the Armos Knights just being, okay, this isn't even fair anymore. Like, come on.
Yeah, I know for some players, when they get into go mode, a lot of times it's when they turn up the heat and they're like, okay, time to do my thing, time to execute, time to go. So it can be really interesting to see just the subtle demeanor in the players change a little bit when they reach that state.
Yeah, unlike that for me though, whenever I get in go mode in a race, that's when I start making mistakes, or I'm like, oh no, am I going to be able to do this? And then I just kind of mess up a lot more. But these runners are handling it very well, especially Kyong. His execution has been on point since he's been in go mode, so he's been doing very well.
Yeah, he certainly seems fairly well practiced and took down Armos very cleanly. Now he's heading off to the mountain. Same strategy for Penguin here.
Ooh, misses that one arrow, but still gets him down really, really fast.
Yep, that it's almost a shield pickup. Yeah, it'll be really interesting how Gan Tower plays out. Still have Torok, but that could be the biggest chunk of time difference that we're looking at right here.
Yeah, definitely.
So having cleared Torok, this will be a very, well, not a short trip, but much shorter trip. Don't have to worry about going to all the obtuse and obnoxious other rooms to get a key or a big key or whichever item. Just go straight on through. No lace bridge.
Yeah, it's always very interesting. I always kind of look at, oh, Kyong taking a fall right there. That'll get some time back a little bit for Penguinpuff. But yeah, as I was saying, Turtle Rock, I always remember as a kid thinking this dungeon was huge, but now when I do Randomizer, it's really not that big as you think it would be for being like the last main dungeon.
It's pretty funny how that happens when you play a game as a kid and you get older.
Yeah, exactly.
Something worth noting that I'm sure most know, but Kyong fell there because the platform came to a stop and then you hit the jelly. Normally when you're on the platform, if it's moving, you can tank a jelly hit and nothing will happen. But if you slash it while it's electrified, you'll fall. And then again, in that situation, if the platform is stopped and you take a hit, even if it's not electrified, then you'll fall too.
Mm-hmm.
So they can definitely be a little trolly. It's kind of like, okay, are they going to electrify? Should I hit them or should I take it? Or
especially if you're not used to that, because whenever you see an enemy like that, and you just like think, okay, let's just slash this to get rid of it, and then, yep, turns on the electricity, and then you fall off, and then you have to do the whole thing over again. It's just, yeah.
And yeah, Kyong just about at Trenix here. It's been a very interesting race to watch, with all the differences and whatnot. I think in general, Kyung's had some cleaner execution, and you can really see it paying off here. Again, not to overstate it, but in terms of rando and different seeds and whatnot, they can sometimes be trolly. You know, they can be a little bit unpredictable. But if you improve your input, your execution, and your play, that can increase your odds. That can increase your output. Your result. Because even if you make all the right decisions, if you don't play very well, you'll lose a lot of time. And even if you make some bad decisions, you can really compensate.
Definitely, that is a very, very true statement. Because, like, right here, Penguin had such a great gamble with leaving Ice Palace early, and did have a lead for a big chunk of that part of the endgame, but then just the execution Kyong has just been really, really good. So because of that, he's been able to make up a lot of ground and overtake Penguin's lead that he had. So execution definitely matters a lot.
Yeah. Like, it might not feel like it while you're playing, but when you watch it and when you count the time, you can definitely feel it. And the speedrun is a wonderful part of the game too. I highly recommend the speedrun. Very fun, very good people that are there. A wealth of knowledge. Yeah, this is fun.
It is.
But I think everyone knows what time it is.
Yeah, very quickly. 22 chests in Ganon's Tower. One of those chests has the big key. If you are in chat, please guess, send out your numbers on which chest you think, or which location you think the big key will be in.
Yeah, it came up so quickly.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with number 10.
I'm gonna go with 8. Okay, there's the first one. So the guessing game already over. Again, sorry for the short transition, but not a long walk from Turtle Rock to Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, my apologies.
It's okay.
So it's been an adventure.
It really has. It's been quite the adventure. But it's been a lot of fun, and that's all that matters.
So Kyong went straight over to the left, and it looks like, yeah, he's setting up for the proverbial Dark Magician strategy. So he checked left, and now he's going right. So this is really big. Penguin heading left.
Ooh. I almost kind of hope he continues on, like, after these items, just to see a divergence.
That'd be pretty interesting. So far, still nothing. We found the powder, got some money, but no key. It's definitely a good strategy. It's just unfortunate the fact that we know that he, really wants to make a potential time here. We'd want to see a bit of a divergence. But they're still very close together. This is still a very tight race.
Okay, and Penguinpuff is also doing the Dark Magician strat, so this is going to be pretty even.
Yeah. And so far, nothing on right side. So Kyung gonna head to Bob's chest and Armo's.
So I normally don't see this when people do the Dark Magician strat, but I almost wonder if Penguinpuff does grab these next 4 chests, and then he decides to warp out from there and go the other route. That could be another divergence, so I'm kind of hoping for that, but usually when I see people go this route, they tend to go all the way and then go straight for Ice Armos.
Yeah, unfortunately, in terms of efficiency, you've kind of already committed to the play.
Yeah,
you definitely could if you're hoping that the key is that it's going to be front-loaded. You're basically, playing a front versus back. But number 12 for Kyung here, so unfortunately, we're both out in terms of guessing.
Oh well. We'll let someone in chat have it.
Yeah, a loss for us means someone else wins. So in the end, it's really a win. So 13, 14, and 15. So it was
Okay,
on
it
the
was
left
on-
side.
Yeah, it was. So, oof. If Penguin would have kept going.
Oh, well, there is the tower room, but it's not going to be on the tower room. No way.
I don't know. It could be on the tile room.
Nah.
I don't like checking that place as much as anyone does, but oh, that's there. It's in the fire bar room.
See? No tower room.
Okay, fair enough.
So I think that was
16,
16?
I believe. Yeah, because we were 15 after Ice Armos, so yeah, 16.
Yeah. So congrats to anyone that guessed.
And looks like the winner was Bodacious. Or no, Buddha Claus, my bad.
So now it's all execution. Just going through the rest again in tower. They have butter, they have silver, so I don't anticipate they'll check the final chest or any on the way. So it's just purely playing.
Yep, that's pretty much what it's going to come down to right here. Just straight up execution. Any sort of falls, whether it's on Moldorm or Ganon himself, those will be huge. But I don't know, with this execution that we've seen from both runners, it's hard to imagine that, but even Trolldorm can be trolly sometimes.
Yeah, it's never over until it's over. Still a very close race. Very close. And this is crucial.
It really, really is. And Kyong is already through the gauntlet, so going to be fighting Lam-No-2 next. Going to be using silver arrows here. Only one hit will destroy these guys. Misses the first one, but oh, okay, got it on the second cycle. That's not too bad.
Yeah, Lamola infinitely more fun when you have silver arrows instead of normal arrows. Penguin having a little trouble with these very annoying enemies. They are the worst, and these seconds really matter. Like, they're both doing good, but at an hour and 53 minutes in, and you're in Ganon Tower, you have to be thinking, where is my opponent?
Mm-hmm.
And again, this final bit of execution, it's very huge.
Yeah, and taking into consideration what we know from this particular seed, Penguinpuff knows that he stepped out of ice early and might be thinking that, okay, well, I haven't seen it not done yet. Maybe Kyong actually full cleared that, and maybe that's the difference right now. So could be really, really nervous, just not knowing where your opponent is, and just waiting to see when that dot done is going to happen.
Yeah, I feel like the way it's played out, you have to know your opponent's close, and you know, again, those nerves can play into how you execute and how you go through the tower. Good Trolldorm 2 from Kyong here. Penguinpuff not far behind, and yeah, as expected, he does skip the chest. So, maybe a few not like this and Dairy Queen in the chat, but it's the logical play.
I always wonder, see all these Dairy Queens pop up in the chat, but it's like, Dairy Queen's closed usually around this point for at least most of the world, so you just have to wait till the next day to get your ice cream fix.
Yeah. And item 2 down, just as Penguin goes into Moldrum 2. So here we go, the final fight. Butter and Silver. It takes 6 slashes for the first phase, 6 for the second, 4 for the third, and then however it works out with the Silver Arrow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as we've been saying throughout the entire run, just having the setup they have, Butter Sword and Silver Arrows, and having the best defenses and the magic meter extension. This fight, not an issue, I don't think will be for either of the runners.
No, you could get frisky with the bat. You could give Ganon a hug or two, and you should be fine. It'll be a very fast fight. Kyong already onto the third phase. So barring disaster, he's looking very strong right now. Item 2 goes down for Penguinpuff, so that's really good. He'll be flying in shortly. Getting some trolley RNG from Ganon here.
Yeah.
So adding to the suspense.
Yeah, a little bit. Remember when Ganon warps were not part of Randomizer?
No, this feels like you'll get a billion warps, and then like he won't warp anymore. He's like, okay, I got them out now.
Yeah,
I have a
yeah.
fun.
That's what it seems like.
But not quite. He gave us a few more. So Penguin onto his first phase, right as Kyong gets onto the fourth. Ooh, oh, that was really close.
My gosh, you almost fell right.
That was really close.
Oh, that was so close.
Okay. So Kyong did take him out. So GG's to Mr. Kyong, barring a fall, which at this point doesn't seem likely. He will be our winner. And indeed, he has finished with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 57 minutes, and 12 seconds.
Yeah, get your GGs in, everyone. That was an amazing show of execution for sure.
Yeah, and very close behind him is Penguinpuff. Again, not much separated these racers. They're very close.
Yeah, so close. And that fall seriously would have, if it happened, that would have determined this entire race. That would have been
everything.
Yeah.
So we're finding out if Mr. Kyong wants to come in for an interview right as Penguin is finishing up here. It's a nice double. And that will be it for him too.
And he's going to be finishing with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 58 minutes, and 22 seconds. Very close, just a 70... Oh no, it was a little more than that. 90... No, I can't do math today. No, I was right the first time. 70-second difference. So very, very close.
Yeah, very good from both of them.
Okay, Kyong92 is going to fast forward through the credits because getting on Discord and while the stream's still going through all that stuff does kind of, I guess, hurt his connection a bit, so he's going to wait for that. Meanwhile, we're going to inquire about Penguin, see if he wants to come in as well. And he does. Pink. Oh. Penguinpuff, Welcome, GG.
GG.
GG's.
So, how did you feel about that seed right there?
It was pretty fun, honestly. There was like some interesting thoughts that were going through my mind at the beginning with getting the hammer, and then like just immediately leaving. And I can't even like remember them because my heart was beating so fast because I was on Ganon and Kyong didn't type done, so I was like freaking out. I'm like, do I actually have a chance? My brain's kind of all over the place, but it was really fun. I had a good time with that one.
Understandably so. It's kind of.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry, I was going to say it's kind of funny that you mentioned the hammer because you got the hammer first before Kyong, and so it kind of factored into how the two of you went at the beginning. So it's kind of fun musing what you two would do. But yeah, it also looks like Kyong is in the waiting room too. So we'll see if we can pull him in.
Kyong, hello, welcome, and GG to you, sir.
Hey, thanks.
GG.
GG, well done. How'd you like that seed?
Was interesting actually. I had my suspicions that that some of the rest of the items had to be in dungeons, but I never made the call to go to Turtle Rock and just full cleared everything else.
Yeah, I know the feeling. I did everything, but I like immediately mirrored out after getting Samaria and Ice. Because like my suspicion was that Fire Rod was in Ice or like locked by something in Ice. So I went to Mire and then I did Turtle. And then I did everything and then I did Turtle Rock.
Yeah, that's actually a very good thing you brought up because that's a decision to leave Ice Palace early after just getting the Cane of Samaria was actually a very, very huge play for you because Kyong definitely opted to full clear Ice while he was there and also ended up doing a blind pedestal pull as well. So that decision to skip out of Ice early really, really helped. You were actually quite a bit ahead when you guys were still doing kind of those dungeon clears for Turtle Rock especially. At the end of the day, it really just kind of came down to execution. The exact second where Kyong kind of took the lead was when you were, after you had just gotten the bow from the pyramid and when you mirror bonked into that plant in Hyrule Castle, that's kind of like where he actually passed you up and then didn't change leads to the rest of the race, but it was really, really close. Like that could have gone either way, honestly.
That's actually pretty cool, considering all the ridiculously silly mistakes I made. I'm happy I got to at least make it competitive.
It was funny because you both took the same path in Ganon Tower too, so it was like just watching, seeing how it played out.
That's actually crazy.
That was actually my plan, to take the same path you would take. Because from watching your previous races, you always do the Dark Magician route. Then I thought, okay, I'll just do the same. I don't want any more RNG here. I'll just.
That's smart. Do you want me to tell you a bit of something I do that all my friends think I'm completely nuts for doing? So in my first race against Ak, I'm really, really new to this rando thing. So I was like, my goal in this whole tourney was to get one win. So I'm like, I need to push every advantage I have. So for my first race against Ak, I'm like, I need to do something insane. I need to do something that makes absolutely no sense because I want to put the fear of God into everyone else in my group. Like, I want them to be like, this guy can just gamble on something and win. So,
Absolute madman.
I went to Ice for literally no reason, but psychological pressure on you guys, and I don't think it worked at all.
You went to Ice before stepping to Death Mountain with everything available in Death Mountain, basically.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know how much that played into anything, but that was my intention.
There were a few things that I did because of some stuff I researched, but it was kinda weird in general.
That's good. Yeah, it was fun. GG.
Gee.
One thing I gotta want to ask you, Kyong, really quick is you realize that fall that you almost had on Ganon that could have determined the race, you know.
Indeed. That's pretty darn close, yeah.
Yeah, like that was wow, just a really good race. Definitely one I would recommend watching back, just because it was just really cool to see all the lead changes and just the different routes. Honestly, like even though you guys were pretty much on the same track, it seemed like whenever there was a divergence, once that part of the divergence ended, the other racer went to take care of the other thing. So it's just like you were crisscrossing, but still just kind of on the same route throughout the whole seed, which was just really, really cool to watch.
Something I was curious about, how early did you get hookshot?
I went like pretty early, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, did it take you a while?
No, but I was curious about if you went there early or not.
Yeah, I went there like after Moldorm Cave. Then I went like right up to Death Mountain and got hammered. And then I left Death Mountain after that. Yeah, I don't even remember what was going through my head, but like after Hammer, I was like, you need Lamp to get into Death Mountain, because I saw food up there. So I'm like, I could just keep on clearing normally, because, yeah. Anyways, it was a whole thing.
Chat also wants to know about, for you, Penguinpuff, what happened at the end of Swamp Palace when.
Oh my. Yeah, that like shook me to my core because I'm like, okay, I can't do any stupid mistakes. I do too many stupid mistakes. So I'm gonna count every item I get out loud and also mark it in my tracker. And somehow I got to 5, and then I did left side swamp, and then I forgot to hit the switch. It was just a disaster. It was a catastrophe. And it was made worse that I was saying it out loud. Like,
That
1,
absolute
2.
madman.
On the other hand, I went straight to left side swamp and opened both map and compass, so that was great too.
Yeah, I didn't hit the switch, so I did left side swamp twice. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's like your stretch against Ak. Okay, going good. This will show them in swamp.
Yeah.
Just wait until they rewatch it. No, but it's a very entertaining race. Very fun. Mr. Kyong going 4-0, so playing very well in this group phase. Unfortunately, Mr. Penguinpuff taking a loss here, but still doing great. There's still the tiebreaker incoming. Certainly nothing off the table just yet.
That's true. All I have to do is beat Schwartz to get a chance.
Yeah, and lucky. Oops, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, lucky me, I get to actually commentate that match again.
Oh, nice. I'll try to do insane things so you have a good time.
Yeah, and remember, Penguinpuff, in the Swiss stages, didn't you like start out going 0-2, and then you just brought it back for the last 4 matches? You're kind of the comeback kid in around these parts. So honestly, I think you have some pretty good chances to not only make the tiebreaker, but also be in contention as well.
Let's hope. I don't feel it. Everyone else is probably a lot better than me, but it is rando. So.
Exactly. Don't take that for granted. It's rando. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
Ooh, Schwartz talking in chat, singing won't make it easy.
No, it's a tall order. I don't know if I'm up to it.
I'm sure you'll do very well.
I'll try.
Is there any closing thoughts or anything that you two would like to say?
You could go first, Kyung.
I don't have much to say, actually. Thank you guys for your commentary as always.
Yeah, thank you guys. I want to shout out to Signal C if he's in chat. Rando's biggest fan. I don't know if he's here, but whenever I'm in a Rando race, he's there. Like, he's into it. It's awesome to see. So shout out to Signal C. What a guy.
It's cute. And yeah, thank you to both of you runners. Thank you so very much to my co-commentator here, helping to keep me in check after a couple of mistakes.
Oh, you did the same for me too. So no, thank you for also co-commentating with this with me as well. Also, thank you to Dude for being the tracker for this particular race. Stayed on top of things and helped us in a lot of places where it looked like we missed an item or something. The tracker was always up to date, so we always had that information. And of course, thanks to Feasel for being the amazing restreamer that he is, not just for this tournament, but for all the events he hosts on Speed Gaming. Such an incredible guy to put all of this work into what has become a bit of a phenomenon for a lot of people, just having so many tournaments and competitions on just a small set of Twitch channels. So a lot of work goes into this tournament, and it's really it's always good to kind of point that out and just give mention to all the work that goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah, thank you to Fuzel and Dude as well. And for all those still watching, I think there's a race going on at Speed Gaming 3 that you can still catch. If I'm correct.
You are correct.
Between El Tigre and Genya. So that's a very good matchup to watch.
Yeah, so if you want to watch the conclusion of that match, definitely check that out. But yeah, I think we're going to be done here. So thank you to everyone for coming out to watch. This was a lot of fun. I had a good time. And we will see you guys later. A lot of Randomizer to come still, so should be fun to watch.
Bye.
Goodbye.